Hey everyone, I'm Bill. I'm with Cali Moto TV. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to our first impression ride on a long-term review on the brand new 2020 Ducati Monster 1200S with the black on black edition. This is courtesy of Ducati North America. They have lent us these two beautiful bikes for some long-term reviews for you guys. So today I'm going to take you on my first impression, my very first ride on this Ducati 1200 Monster, and give you guys the feel of what it's like hopping on 147 horsepower, 91 pound-feet of torque, 445 pound motorcycle for the very first time up here on the twisties. So let's take a look around the bike, let's get on it, and let's get out on the road and see how it really performs. All right guys, well there she is, the brand new 2020 Ducati Monster 1200S by Ducati. Again, courtesy of Ducati North America. Thank you guys for letting me borrow this thing. So today we're going to be doing our first impression ride. We're out here at Lake Berryessa, and we've got this thing out for our very first ride. And I got to tell you, whew, the looks of this thing, black on black with a little bit of red accents, is just beautiful. And Ducati North America has outfitted this with all of the carbon fiber accent pieces with a bunch of Rizomo accessories, so we'll get into that, but beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Of course, it's the S model, so we have the Öhlins suspension, 147 horsepower, 91 pound-feet of torque. I mean, the thing is just what it says. It's an absolute monster. So let's get on this thing real quick, and let's take a quick look at this instrument cluster display, because I really actually like the instrument cluster display. It's not quite as nice as the instrument on the Ducati Street Fighter, but I think it's version A or generation 1, but very nice. It displays everything that you need. Over here on the menus, you can scroll through your different tripometers, mile range and times and whatnot. And then over here you've got your average speeds and air temperatures and whatnot. And then when you click and push the menu button, just quickly takes you through your different riding modes. So you have 3 riding modes: sport, touring, and urban. And then in that, once you select it, you can push and hold. We're in sport mode, we'll stay in sport mode. But once you push and hold the menu button for about 5 seconds, the main menu screen comes up, and just the different controllability to this is great. Riding modes, you can change your riding modes and your traction control and your ABS braking and your wheelie control in your riding mode selection. So in sport, we can go and change our dynamic wheelie control to whatever we want. So very, very nice. Pretty user friendly. Once you kind of figure out how to get into it, looking at the bike, there's no clear menu button. So it took me a second to realize that I had to push and hold the enter button to get into the back menus. But you got your daytime running lights, starts and stops and hazards over here, which is really nice. And then over here, of course, you got your blinkers, horns, your high beams, so you can actually turn your lights and high beams on, and then your flasher. So really, really nice. So let's get out on the streets of Berryessa, and give you guys what we think of this thing for the very first time. We have a quick ride up here, so the quick ride up here, it kind of gives me a few miles to kind of get acclimated to the bike, so I don't look like a complete moron on this thing. But it really kind of gives me a minute to kind of get a feel for how this bike is going to react. And I'll tell you, it actually feels really, really good just hopping on the thing for the very first time. Now, the Öhlins suspension comes out, or comes with the S model, and out of the box it's pretty decent. I feel like it felt more planted out of the box. Now mind you, I haven't had it adjusted, but out of the box it feels a little bit more planted when I get on it than I do at low speeds. So the suspension feels good though, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely probably could use a little hand of Dave Moss. So I think next time we get some of these Ducatis, I think we're going to try to get Dave Moss involved to adjust these things for us, to get them to really optimize these long-term reviews, because you know, we plan on having this bike for a couple weeks, so it's going to be nice to be able to get on the thing and know that for, you know, a couple weeks that we've got good setup suspension, and we can really ride these things like they belong to us. So so 147 horsepower, 91 pound-feet of torque. I mean, the thing's a monster. Now, coming from, if you guys don't know, and if you guys are new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give us that like, because likes are more important than you know. But I have, of course, a Ducati Street Fighter V4S, and I absolutely love the thing. The thing is, you know, I mean, it's hard to say it's a monster, because of course we're on the Monster, but it's the thing is bonkers. So but to go to 1200 from any bike, I mean, 147 horsepower is no slouch in a V-twin. So you've got torque in the low end, so we're around 4,500 RPM, so you've got the nice torque pickup to take you into the horsepower. So the Ducati's always had great twins, and the V4 is just been dominating things. So are we gonna see a monster V4? I sure hope so. So right now, right around 5,000 RPMs. Let's talk about the vibration in the twins that you guys are probably all wondering about. It's there. It's in the foot pegs right now at that 5,000 RPM low end grunt. And then when we get up to about the 5,500, 6,000 RPM, you start to kind of feel it in between your legs, and the rear passenger is going to probably start feeling it, because it moves from the lower end of the motor up to the upper part of the motor. So vibration is there. The handling's good. It's not dry. Go down into third. All right, again, still trying to kind of figure this thing out. So Brembo brakes all the way around, with the Brembo Master for the brakes and for the hydraulic clutch. So of course it's equipped with the Ducati quick shifter, so you don't use the clutch much. I had someone ask me how I like the clutch on the Street Fighter, and I said, wait, we have a clutch? You know, you kind of start to get spoiled with everything is got a quick shifter now, and it's great, you know, be able to just pull up in. So it's really, really nice. I have noticed coming up the quick shifter on kind of that full wide open throttle, it does have a little bit of a delay to it that I noticed, but I'm not sure. I know Ducati has mentioned that there is a recall. I'm assuming that if this is recalled, it was already done. But I did notice a little bit of that kind of delay, so to speak, when you're shifting. So the styling, you know, history lesson, to go back to 1993 when they first released the Ducati Monster. I really love that Ducati has kept the heritage of the Monster. I get that times have changed and things have changed, but you still, you know, when you pull up on this bike anywhere, anybody will say, oh, it's a Ducati Monster. There's no question. You know, you pull up on, you know, a newer Gixxer or something like that, and you're like, I'm not too sure, R6 or something like that. You're like, what is that? What could that be? Because in the sport bike market, you know, things really have evolved to really almost look pretty close to being the same. But when we get into the nakeds, you know, the nakeds started really hitting the markets in the 90s, and Ducati was no slowpoke to release this Monster. And you know, back in the days of the Ducatis, one of my very first bikes was a 87 VFR Honda VFR and Interceptor VSR, and my neighbor, who actually got me into kind of into riding, he had an 851, and I really would love to add an 851 to the collection, because it just reminds me of what Ducati. This is what Ducati was about. So you know, coming up through the years in the 90s, in the 2000s and 2010s and 2020s, I really love that Ducati has really kept the kind of heritage of this bike. The trellis style frame, the look of the single headlight up front, really bare bones nakeds with the nice bars. So Ducati's done a superb job in keeping this. And like I said, when you pull up on this 2020 and you point to it and ask anybody what that bike is, they'll tell you it's a monster. So and they've done a very good job with streamlining 3 different monsters. I'm not too sure about the other 2 and why we have the other 2. We have an 821, I believe, and then a 797. And I'm not sure, I haven't been on them, Bogdan's been on them, but I couldn't tell you why we have such a, you know, I figured we'd have like a 600cc and then that 800, 900cc, and then of course we've got the 1200 Monster here. But they do have the other 2 Monster versions, so you've kind of got a selection to pick from, and if you've been on Monsters in the past, I think you'll feel very home with this 1200 and the S. Now let's talk about pricing, and is the S worth it? You know, I wish that Ducati would have done a couple things. I wish that they would. I really love the Street Fighter's suspension. I absolutely love it, and I really wish that this had it, but and then we're going up in price, right? So, you know, the S is going to bring you certain things like the quick shifter, and it's going to bring you the suspension, and I think there's a few other bits that you get when you get upgraded into the S model. But then of course you get this absolutely gorgeous color. I love how they integrated the shiny black and the matte black. It's very nice. But let's get on the feel on this thing. You know, it feels really good. You can see I'm kind of moving pretty well. Wind protection, there's not much wind protection obviously because we're on a naked. So if you're looking to really be 100 miles an hour plus on this thing, you're not going to want to be on a naked. I struggle with the Street Fighter, but you know, just cruising along here, it feels really nice. It feels really planted. The bars, very nice, and the ergonomics of the bike. I should have talked about it earlier in the video on my stats. So if you're still here, I'm 6'2", 230 pounds, and I've got a 30. My pant inseam. I guess I should measure it for you guys because people ask what my inseam is, and I'm like, what are you gonna make me, a pair of pants? But 32 inseam is what I wear on my pants. So but I know that Ducati offers they say it's adjustable seat height, so I'm not sure exactly if like the seat is like literally just like on the Tiger you can actually adjust the seat height. So I'm not sure. I haven't got into that, so hopefully we'll be able to answer those questions for you. But what absolutely gorgeous. And like I said, you know, they've outfitted this thing with just about every little bit. I wish I had an exhaust. This thing is quiet for a Ducati. It's quiet. So I wish it had a little bit more sound to it, but as we know with the Euro 5, that thing is happening. But there it is. There's the Monster, and that's what you see. You know, when you see this thing, it's like, yeah, it's a Ducati Monster. You take the badging off and anybody will tell you that. There's no bike like it. So first impression, I like it. I dig it. It's a pretty nice bike. It's hard to go from the Street Fighter to this because the Street Fighter is just in another game, but I'm liking it so far. So we've got this thing for a few weeks, so stay tuned. We've got some great video and content coming out with this. We also have a Super Sport S as well in the collection these next couple weeks, so make sure you stay tuned for those. But Like buttons are more important than you know, so please hit that like button. Subscribe down below and comment if there's anything that I missed on the first ride. I'm sure that we'll answer them in videos to come and get a little bit more detailed. But if you guys have any comments down below, hit me up down below. We're very active in the comments. But 2020 Ducati Monster 1200S, courtesy of Ducati North America. Again, thank you, and we'll see you next video. Bye, guys.